was brought to the psych ward. I couldn't tell you which time this was of the last 4 times. Oh, it was, I think, the 4th time ago. I've had 4 episodes that required hospitalization in the past 2 years, 3 years. 3 years. And they were back to back. 1 year and 2 last year. Well, I was put on medications. I'm on medications. I was court-ordered to take medications after the hospital stays. And before that, I had been healing holistically. I had moved up here to the UP, where I grew up. I grew up in Calumet. After I lost my house, went to jail, went to the psych ward, lost my job, went through bankruptcy, all sorts of fun stuff. I became disabled. After all that happened, I couldn't function. I've had severe problems in my life. Hospitalized about 9 times, 10 times now, I think. And a couple times I've had episodes where I managed to go to sleep on my own and come out of it. That is my greatest wish. If it happens again, which statistically probably will, and I have to be prepared for it. Current time, I have no supports really. My therapist finally did call and offered a phone session, and I declined. Many reasons. But yeah, I guess my mission is slowly becoming to try to create a safe space for me and anybody else who might be going through a hell of a time and see no hope. You know, a suicide hotline at least that will not report you to the police and threaten your existence. And well, in my case, it ended up with being forced to take psychotropic neurotoxins against my will for years here now. First it was Abilify for a year, injected into my hip. Well, maybe it was 9 months, but it was injected into my hip. Then I had to taper off of that after the court order ended there. I tapered for a year after that. And this most recent time I was put on Zyprexa. And I was delivered daily psychotropic neurotoxins to take. And in front of a person knocking on my door every day. And I would like to go back to reverse. Somehow go back when I first got here and get back on the vegetarian, gluten-free, GMO-free, organic diet I was on, which I can't seem to do while I'm drugged. I'd like to start taking the nutritional supplements again that helped me. The Neuro Mood Pack by Pure, the Ultra Nutrient by Pure, the Magnesium by Pure. Oh, it would be fantastic if I lived in a world where I had some support, well, I do have some support with EMDR therapy. I do get to go and do that. That is helpful, very helpful. But in general, I'm more worried about what would happen if I were to go into crisis again. That's what occupies my time, is what will happen to me. Are the cops going to come into my house again as they did once before, drag me out of my own bedroom where I felt safe, and take me away to the psych ward in handcuffs, spending a night at the jail, huge amounts of trauma resulting from what I consider just a crazy, messed up fucking system, where we are not helping people who are in crisis. We are hurting them. And we all need to come together and do some simple fucking things. Simple things. Real simple. No, they're not really that simple. We need people who are trained. We would need, if we were to do the Van Gogh Hospital again, we would need people trained in trauma. We would need people who were compassionate. That's not easy in today's world. We've treated people badly too long. And during this COVID crisis, we have an opportunity to look at some of the systems of things that we spend our time on and, I don't know, sift through the useless endeavors and come to agreements that, I don't know, the mental health field needs some fixing, and we should spend some time listening to survivors and people who've been through the system. That's one of the main things about my sociological background and studying these issues of mass shootings. I had my first breakdowns when Columbine happened. I was very disturbed. I have always been very touched, swayed, hurt with the world community when tragic events happen like that. 9/11, same thing. I have breakdowns, breakthroughs. I call them breakthroughs. I have to look at the positive side of these episodes that I've been through, and we all should, because they're great gifts. They tell everybody, what issues we need to work on. When kids are shooting each other in schools, we should probably work on that. When 8,000 children die a day from starvation, we should probably work on that. Making plastic for the ocean, we should probably spend less time working on that. Less time buying shit like that. I don't know, I went through a whole 180. I lived a very toxic lifestyle, very mainstream lifestyle. Downstate for many years. I worked my ass off at a company that the newspaper Gannett owned, Lansing State Journal, and I did that for a long time, 12 years, and I ate crappy food, fast food all the time, a lot of toxins into my system. I used a ton of makeup that was not good for me at all. I ate a lot of it because I'm a lipstick junkie, and many things were in my system, and I've been off balance for most of my life. I wasn't getting any sleep, 3 to 4 hours a night. I was on hundreds of projects. I was running so fast. When I got to Ontonagon, it was full stop. My 92-year-old neighbor, John Borgen, World War II veteran, taught me how to slow down, get off this Ferris wheel, this hamster wheel, more like it. We're generating, always generating, always producing, must be productive. Overwork was my key go-to for running from my pain. Anything but feel the pain. I must overwork, I must do this, I must do that. I have people to take care of. Oh my God, I have a huge family. I got to get gifts for everybody at every occasion. I must spread this knowledge that I'm taking in because it's so real. It's so meaningful. It must be, shared. Just crazy, basically, if I have to put that label on it, crazy. Just a crazy lifestyle in general. And then when I really went crazy is when the trauma erupted in my life, and I could no longer sustain it with my crazy lifestyle. So I changed everything. I stopped everything. I stopped it all. For a long time, I turned off everything. I turned off the media for a year and a half. I couldn't listen to songs on the radio because the words were manipulative, part of marketing and gimmicks to sell. Everything was in terms of the mass advertised world we live in, the media soaked, infused realities imposed upon people, and self-imposed as well. I worked in that field, so it was how I saw the ugliness of myself. I saw the ugliness of everything. I pretty much, there's that metaphorical ego death again, and talking about the ego, and well, you need the ego. I'm sorry, that's when you start abandoning or killing the ego. Yeah, maybe, metaphors and imagery and symbolism needs to be refined. We don't want to kill the fucking ego. We need the ego. I mean, it was the only thing. It was the ego that brought me back to the world of, saner existence, more balanced. I would want to say more balanced existence. Sane. Get those words changed, looked at, deciphered. Sanity and insanity, and what is the reason for it. There's very good reasons for it, and we shouldn't be medicating it away. We should be working with the people to find the meanings for them symbolically and help them through their problems in living. Thomas Saz was a great influence on me when I first entered this anti-psychiatry movement. I know there's a lot of well, I'll just say it, Citizens Commission on Human Rights was co-founded by Thomas Saz, and he also wrote the 3 books that I first read when I didn't read them all actually. I ordered them and became influenced by his views on things, but he founded CCHR, which is an organization that Scientology apparently runs, and a lot of people are very against Scientology, so I don't promote his views too often. I mean, I put his words out there, but he wasn't a Scientologist. He was just a psychologist or a psychiatrist, and anyhow, my background has some organizational religious stuff in it that is very extreme, like the Scientologists. I left that long ago, and that's why I'm mainly of a Buddhist viewpoint on things. And to get back to the Van Gogh Hospital is something that I'm going to be talking about, I guess, at length, trying to come up with ways to create a space that'll be safe for me to go to if I fall into crisis again. And anybody in the UP and anybody in the world who, unfortunately, we live in the economic times of we got to build it, and I'll probably be looking for support financially, and it'll probably cost money to come to. At least at first, I think my goal is to make it completely non-profit and to make it completely 100%, for free. I would love it to be free, basically, for everyone, anywhere. And if we can start with a couple centers, make a lot of money to begin with, maybe. I guess if we live in a capitalistic world, charge money at the beginning and then somehow get it into the mental health free arena with, Medicare for all. Get it approved by Medicare. The Van Gogh Hospital, something other than being brought to a psych ward and being forced to take psychotropic neurotoxins against your will, especially long term. I mean, I am still back and forth where, I don't want these drugs, even if I short term have a crisis, but a lot of people would want them. And I understand completely why. I mean, some people believe they will die if they go through a crisis without resolution with drugs, tranquilized into unconsciousness, into sleep. A lot of these psychotic episodes or psychospiritual breakthroughs go on for weeks and weeks and weeks at a time, and a person might not sleep, might not eat, might not go to the bathroom, and might do some very odd behavior. That person would need 24-hour support and assistance, and that's what I need. If I were to go into a crisis again, I would need 24-hour support and assistance and reassurance that I'm not going to be dragged off and held down by 6 staff members while drugs are pumped into my body with a syringe. That is torture. That is a violation of my civil rights, my human rights. And anybody who agrees with that, that's great for you. I hope it happens for you. And you can tell me afterward how you think it goes then, or went then. You might have a different opinion. And it's happened to me too many times in the last 5 years that I have to do whatever I can to protect myself. I've made obvious pleas on Facebook with Coalition. I've made obvious references to hopefully get the message out there that I don't want to be tortured if I ever break down again. I don't want to be continued to be tortured. I don't want to continue to be forced to take drugs against my will. There are good things that are going on in my life. I'm very stable. I'm ready to get down off of this last 5 milligrams of Zyprexa. I want to taper slowly as usual because I am very, very cognizant that these drugs are extremely, extremely strong and need care in coming off. You need care in coming off, and that's another feature of the Van Gogh Hospital for the people who can afford it, I guess. If we have to charge at the beginning, it will offer tapering protocol with a licensed psychotherapist or psychiatrist, I guess, because psychotherapists cannot typically administer medication. We would have to have a general practitioner on board, hopefully a general practitioner who's holistic and knows about medications. We would probably not want a psychiatrist. I think that's the last thing anybody in crisis and who's been in my sort of position would want to see walking in to the Van Gogh Hospital. That would be the last thing, is meeting the psychiatrist. No, we would probably want somebody who could take care of the medication needs, somebody from the type of inner compass project, the people who are versed, who know, and who have worked with people who have suffered coming off these drugs. And that's my talk for today. These are solely my own opinions. I am not working for anybody. I work for nobody, I guess. I'm trying to be an activist for awareness. If nothing else, awareness of my particular perspective. It may not coincide with yours, and that's completely understandable. And we hopefully have a huge diverse array and range of opinions out there on these things. Mine is just mine. Signing off from Lake Superior, Silver Sands Motel Lodge. I don't even know. I walked up there the other day to see what those signs on the window said, and they said criminal trespassing, blah blah blah, scare me, get out of there. So I ran away, but I don't know if anybody owns this. But I'm going to put it down as my Van Gogh Hospital hope for the future. Perhaps there will be a center created 10 miles down the road from my house that I help at. I did a write-up in my notes on my iPhone. Love the iPhone. Everybody should have one for free. In my perfect world of the Venus Project is already born, and I just woke up. Anyhow, that's something else. I think the elders need to be taken care of. That's something else. I have a lot of problems with the problems in living across this planet. Let's not even talk about Rwanda and the third world nations. They are swallowing the pills very fast. Pharmaceutical companies are making a lot of money, and we need to find better ways to help people in distress. Thank you.